Not only is Castlevania Symphony of the Night a masterpiece of video game design, it's teeming with references to history, religion, literature, and folklore. This is the Annotated Symphony of the Night. As we travel our way to our next and final destination, I'd like to welcome you back to the Annotated Symphony of the Night for the last time. Sadly, while there's little in the way of new ground to cover with this episode, there are certainly great nuggets of information to glean from the ending of the game. Let's make our way back to the clock room to uncover them. Here's one of the final quirks of the game. To properly map this room, Alucard needs to make his way around the boss arena here and then double back. By coming into contact with the elevator, the endgame automatically triggers, which can leave half the area uncovered. Once inside, you can use a library card to go back out of the fight and see the final blue square during the second phase of the last battle, but there's a little benefit to it in practical terms.
You have done well in making it this far. I would expect no less from the son of our master.
So you are the one who was controlling Belmont?
Yes, I am the dark priest called Shaft. This world must be cleansed in the forge of chaos.
Why did you make Belmont lord of this castle?
For centuries, vampire hunters have defeated evil with holy power. But if two vampire hunters were to fight each other...
But Belmont's power is supreme among vampire hunters. None other could defeat him.
Exactly. That's why I removed him as a threat, by making him into lord of this castle.
But your plan has failed.
Has it indeed? We'll see what happens after I destroy your weak human side.
This is the Dark Priest Shaft, whom is the architect of the game's conflict. Another holdover character from Rondo of Blood, Shaft's methods of resurrecting Dracula in the previous game included kidnapping Wallachian damsels for sacrifice, Maria Renard being one of them. An adept magician, the reappearance of old Castlevania foes in this game is perhaps his doing, as he also resurrected the classic bosses to fight Richter Belmont near the end of the last game as well. The orbs floating around him will do different elemental damage depending on the color of the orb. Sadly, while unique in the fact that he's a penultimate boss that makes an appearance in more than one game, Shaft is something of a nondescript enemy as the series goes, as he is another in a long line of cult leaders that resurrects Dracula. There hasn't been a clear answer to where his name comes from, but it's probably not because he's a sex machine with all the chicks.
No!
You claim to love the darkness. Go then and dwell there for all eternity.
But my goal is achieved. Count Dracula has come to purify this corrupt world with the searing flames of chaos.
Father.
Well met, my son. It's been a long time.
I was hoping we would not see each other again. I can't allow you to leave here, Father.
You have ever been the ally of humans. Have you forgotten what they did to your mother?
Think you I would forget such a thing? No, but neither do I seek revenge against them.
Still uttering the same nonsense. No matter. Now is the time to put aside your weak human side and join me in remaking this world!
Dracula, in the name of my mother, I will defeat you again!
Behold!
Here we are in the final battle with Dracula. This fight is somewhat novel in that it cuts to the chase and chooses not to have him start in humanoid form before evolving into something more demonic, though we still have the main figure in the center, so it seems as though his throne is what actually transformed. Notice the background in the area though. This is no physical representation of any location, simply a chaotic show of visual noise courtesy of the PlayStation's hardware. As further games in the series such as Aria and Dawn of Sorrow have led us into a hellish abyss to stamp out malevolent spirits, it can be surmised that Alucard has done the same to finish off Dracula before he makes his way into the corporeal world in so many words. The finale of the game will coincide with most games in the series as Alucard makes his way out of the collapsing creature of chaos that the castle represented.
Go back whence you came. Trouble the soul of my mother no more.
How? How is it that I've been so defeated?
You have been doomed ever since you lost the ability to love.
Sarcasm. For what profit is it to a man if he gains the world and loses his own soul? Matthew 16:26, I believe. Tell me, what were Lisa's last words?
She said, do not hate humans. If you cannot live with them, then at least do them no harm. For theirs is already a hard lot. So said to tell you that she would love you for all of eternity.
Lisa, forgive me. Farewell, my son.
So you made it.
Alucard, I'm glad you're all right.
I'm sorry. 'Tis my fault you had to fight your own father.
Fear not. I had my own reasons for destroying him.
It must have been painful for you.
Indeed. But you must always remember that the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing.
I understand.
Alucard, what will you do now?
The blood that flows in my veins is cursed. 'Twould be best for this world if I were to disappear forever.
I see.
Farewell, then. We'll not meet again.
Alucard,
Don't you want to go after him, Maria?
I'm sorry. I can't let him disappear from my life.
It's all right. Go after him. Perhaps you can save his haunted soul.
Thank you, Richter. Fare thee well.
And yourself, dear lady.
What you're hearing in the background is I Am the Wind, which, while often derided, has been conspicuously absent from all further re-releases of the game. There is speculation that this is due to a rights issue more than one of good taste, but there's been little in the way of confirmation as of this recording. Some notes on the ending as we see the final credits. First, the Bible quote from Dracula has also been changed in re-releases of the game, specifically the PSP Dracula X Chronicles, as it retranslated and re-recorded all of the dialogue. Amongst the series, this was the first game to make an attempt to make Dracula a sympathetic or even tragic antagonist, which is a trait that continued in further games of the franchise. What we saw was the quote best ending of the game, which is awarded to the player if they map at least 196% of it. So yes, you don't need to map every room in the castle to see the final ending. Of note is a piece of dialogue that Alucard essentially preaches to his human allies, that for quote evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. It's a quote from Irish author, philosopher, and statesman Edmund Burke, who passed away in 1797 when this game takes place. There are a total of 5 endings to the game, counting Richter Belmont's silent staring at a crumbling building. The one we just watched is closely echoed by one with less than 196% of the castle mapped. The game could also be finished in the first castle, though, as bad endings can be achieved by finishing off Richter Belmont after obtaining the Holy Glasses and not destroying the Green Orb. As a last bit of trivia as we see the endings, placing the original Symphony disc into a standard CD player will provide a short introduction from Alucard voice actor Robert Belgrade about the data on the disc being unlistenable.
As you can see, this is a PlayStation Black disc. Cut number 1 contains computer data, so please don't play it. But you probably won't listen to me anyway, will you?
And then a remix of the song Dracula's Castle will be played. It's a neat little Easter egg. Many original PlayStation discs would do this as they relied on Redbook audio. Finally, the worst ending, which can be triggered by failing to solve the gold and silver ring puzzle, implying that both Richter and Maria perished in the destruction. And the game, finally, comes to a close. The Annotated Symphony of the Night was a project that had taken nearly 2 years to complete. Research and early recording started in early 2016, and the people responsible for making this information available and accessible deserve your thanks and support. First, a tremendous thank you to the editors and contributors of the Castlevania wiki on fandom.com. Large active communities for revered game series are the lifeblood of any franchise, and the meticulous digging and cataloging of a wide array of subjects connected to this franchise was a great asset to a video series like this. Even if you only contributed a sentence or two to a level layout, you have my heartfelt thanks. By extension, the omnipresent Wikipedia deserves some thanks and respect for similar reasons. For this series, it provided the majority of still photos as well as some further research opportunities. From a deeper research perspective, these videos could not exist without resources like game developer Double Fine and their Devs Play video series, and especially shmupulations.com. The former is obviously a famous video game maker that has generally offered a window into the construction of some of the finest video games in history, and completely for free. The latter is a rich goldmine of information translated from decades-old sources for the first time and widely available online. Both of these resources can use your support, Shmupulations itself being funded on Patreon. This person is doing the Lord's work, so give him a hand if you can. I'd also like to thank John Park for technology and editing help. Finally, thank you very much for watching and following this video series. I mentioned in the introductory video that this was a labor of love, and the support and comments of viewers prove that this love comes from more than just its creator. I can't express enough the gratitude I have for the people watching and discussing this project, especially those few from the beginning, and I can only hope that future annotated video projects like this will have the same outpouring of support. Thank you again for watching, reading the appendices, and being active in the conversation. I can only hope that this becomes a document for further discussion into the works that shaped the entire medium. But even less than that, I hope you enjoyed these videos and had fun watching them for their own sake. I can't say it enough, but thank you very much for being part of this, and I hope to see you again in the future.